Maya Wright collapsed against the hospital wall, the doctor's words echoing like a death sentence in her mind. Your mother's insurance claim was denied. Without treatment in the next 72 hours, I can't guarantee she'll make it to Christmas. The medical bill in her trembling hands showed an impossible sum, $250,000. As a scholarship student working 3 jobs, Maya had exactly $742.53 in her bank account and nowhere to turn. Her full ride to Westlake University, her ticket out of poverty, would disappear if she dropped out to work full-time, but her mother was all the family she had left. If you enjoy billionaire stories with shocking twists, make sure to subscribe. This story is about to change everything. I can't lose both of you, she whispered, thinking of her father who died on Christmas Eve 5 years ago. Outside the hospital window, festive lights mocked her despair. Finals week loomed, her tuition deposit for next semester was due, and now this. The universe had a cruel sense of timing. Maya straightened her shoulders and wiped away tears. Somehow, she would find a way. She always did. Unknown to Maya, Elijah Thorne, the 25-year-old tech genius whose AI company had recently valued at $3.8 billion, sat just 2 rows behind her in advanced economic theory. Despite his wealth, Elijah had secretly enrolled at Westlake to experience normal life after years of isolation building his empire. Hidden behind fake glasses and casual clothes, he observed people rather than participating, until that morning when he overheard Maya telling her friend she couldn't exchange Christmas gifts this year. It's fine, Maya had insisted with forced brightness. Christmas is just another day. But something in her voice, a controlled break that matched the dark circles under her eyes, had caught Elijah's attention. Why would someone on a full academic scholarship, who answered every question perfectly in class, be unable to afford even a small gift? Maya hurried from the hospital to her evening shift at the campus coffee shop, unaware that her life was about to collide with Elijah's in ways neither could imagine. She didn't notice him watching from the corner as she meticulously counted her tips, nor did she see the curiosity in his eyes when she asked her manager for more hours. Anything available, please. You know, her manager replied too loudly, most students are asking for less time during finals, not more. Maya's smile never wavered, but her eyes told a different story. I'm not most students. That night, Elijah couldn't sleep. The mystery of Maya Wright consumed him. Using resources that would terrify privacy advocates, he discovered her perfect academic record, her 3 jobs, her full scholarship, and then, her mother's medical history. Terminal cancer. Experimental treatment denied. 3 days left to raise funds impossible for someone in her position. Money had always been a tool for Elijah, never a source of happiness. His parents' deaths in a plane crash had left him wealthy but empty at 16. 9 years of building his company had made him billions, yet he lived like a college student by choice. What good was wealth if not to change lives? But he'd learned that simply throwing money at problems often created new ones. People became dependent, resentful, or worse, treated him differently once they knew who he really was. The next morning, Maya found an envelope in her backpack containing a Christmas card with a simple message: your mother's treatment has been approved. Anonymous donation. Merry Christmas. She immediately called the hospital, hands shaking, only to have the billing department confirm that yes, all expenses were covered by the Thorne Foundation's new medical assistance program. She collapsed onto a bench, overwhelmed by relief and suspicion. The Thorne Foundation? As in Elijah Thorne, the reclusive tech billionaire who nobody even had current photos of? Why would they select her mother? It couldn't be coincidence. Looks like you got good news, said a voice beside her. It was that quiet guy from her economics class, Ellis or Eli something, looking at her with unusual intensity. Impossible news, Maya replied, studying his face. Someone just paid for my mother's entire cancer treatment. $250,000. Anonymous donation. Christmas miracle, he said with a half-smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. You don't seem entirely happy about it. Nothing comes without strings, Maya said. I learned that lesson early. For the first time in their shared class, they really looked at each other. Maya noticed how his casual clothes seemed too perfectly casual, how his posture contradicted his relaxed demeanor. Elijah noticed how she unconsciously straightened her spine when feeling vulnerable, how her eyes assessed everything with remarkable precision. I'm Elijah, he said, extending his hand. Maya. And I'm late for work. She stood abruptly, his name triggering no recognition. Thanks for the company. That night, working her second job at the campus library, Maya couldn't shake the strange encounter. The mysterious donation. The intensity in Elijah's eyes. Using her database access, she searched his name and found nothing, no social media, no university records beyond basic enrollment. It was as if he barely existed. Her researcher instincts triggered, she tried variant spellings, finding only an E. Thomas with the same student ID number. When she finally looked up from the computer, he was standing there, watching her search for him. Finding anything interesting? He asked quietly. You don't exist, she replied. At least not as Elijah. Why would someone use a fake name at college? The library was empty except for them. Outside, snow began to fall, coating the campus in silence. Maybe for the same reason someone would work 3 jobs while on a full scholarship, he countered. Everyone has secrets, Maya. Their eyes locked in mutual challenge, neither backing down. The air between them charged with something neither could name. Who are you really? She whispered. Elijah stepped closer. If I tell you, everything changes. Sometimes mysteries are better left unsolved. I don't believe in mysteries, Maya said. Just problems waiting for solutions. Then solve me, he challenged with unexpected playfulness. But not tonight. Tonight, go see your mother. The hospital called. She's responding well to the first treatment. Maya's breath caught. How could you possibly know that? Merry Christmas, Maya, he said, turning to leave. Some gifts don't need explaining. As he walked away, Maya noticed something fall from his pocket, a keycard with a logo she immediately recognized from every business magazine cover, Thorn Technologies. Her heart stopped as impossible connections formed in her mind. If this story surprised you, don't forget to subscribe, more billionaire stories are coming. The next day, Maya couldn't focus in class. She kept stealing glances at Elijah, who seemed completely absorbed in the lecture. When their eyes occasionally met, his slight smile suggested a private joke between them. After class, she intercepted him. Thorn Technologies keycard, she said without preamble. You dropped it last night. His expression remained neutral. Many students intern there. Many students don't have their names laser-etched as E. Thorn, CEO, on their keycards, she countered. Why is a billionaire sitting in Economics 301 pretending to be nobody? Elijah glanced around the busy hallway. Walk with me? It wasn't really a question. On their walk across the snowy campus, Elijah revealed himself, how after years of isolation building his company, he'd enrolled to experience normality, to learn about people directly rather than through screens and reports. Money gives you power, he explained, but it takes away something essential, the ability to know if people care about you or your wealth. Everyone wants something from Elijah Thorn, billionaire. Nobody wants anything from Elijah, the econ student. Until you started paying medical bills for strangers, Maya noted. Not strangers, he corrected. You. I paid it for you. Why me? She asked, stopping to face him. Because you worked harder than anyone I've ever met and still said Christmas was just another day. Because you never asked for help even when drowning. Because. He hesitated, suddenly vulnerable. Because I wanted to know what it felt like to give something that actually mattered. Maya studied him, emotion warring with practicality. Thank you for my mother's treatment. But I can't be your charity case experiment in meaningful giving. That's not, he started, but she cut him off. I need to process this. I've spent my life believing I could only rely on myself. You just upended that in 24 hours. She turned to leave, then paused. Don't pay for anything else of mine. I mean it, Elijah. For 3 days, Maya avoided him, focusing on finals and visiting her mother, whose improvement seemed miraculous. On the 4th day, she found Elijah waiting outside her apartment with a small wrapped package. Before you reject this, he said quickly, it cost exactly $20. I have the receipt. Despite herself, Maya smiled. You don't give up easily, do you? Building a tech empire before 25 requires some stubbornness, he admitted. Inside the package was a simple ornament, a hand-carved wooden star. My parents died at Christmas too, he explained quietly. I know what it's like to hate and need the holiday simultaneously. Something shifted between them in that moment, recognition of shared wounds beneath different circumstances. For the first time, Maya saw beyond his wealth to the person shaped by loss just as she had been. $20 exactly, she asked, examining the beautiful craftsmanship. Well, plus 3 hours carving it myself, he admitted. But time isn't money. Maya laughed, a genuine sound Elijah realized he'd never heard from her before. Pretty sure that contradicts everything in Economics 301. Maybe that's why I'm taking the class, he responded with a grin. To learn where I went wrong. Over the following week, an unexpected friendship formed. Elijah helped Maya study for finals, she showed him the real student experience, late-night diners, cramming in the library, the genuine camaraderie of peers facing shared challenges. Neither mentioned his wealth or her struggles, focusing instead on discovering each other beyond circumstances. You know, Maya said one night as they shared discount coffee, for a billionaire, you're surprisingly decent at being poor. And you, he countered, are surprisingly comfortable telling a billionaire he's wrong about monetary policy. Money doesn't make you right, she said, her eyes twinkling. Just rich. Their banter had become something both looked forward to, challenge wrapped in growing affection. But as Christmas approached, Maya grew quieter, the weight of past holiday tragedies pressing down. My father died on Christmas Eve, she finally explained. We were supposed to open one gift early, family tradition. Instead, I was identifying his body after a robbery gone wrong. Now Christmas just feels like a reminder of everything you've lost, Elijah finished. Not everything that could still be. The day before Christmas Eve, Elijah disappeared. No texts, no calls. Maya told herself she didn't care, their worlds were too different, the connection temporary. Yet disappointment lingered as she decorated her mother's hospital room with dollar store ornaments, including Elijah's carved star in the center of their tiny tree. He means something to you, her mother observed. This boy you barely mention but clearly think about constantly. He lives in a different reality, Mom. Reality is overrated, her mother replied with surprising strength. Trust me, facing death gives you clarity. Connections matter more than circumstances. That night, Maya's phone buzzed with a text from Elijah, meet me at the university's north entrance. Wear something warm. Against her better judgment, Maya went. Elijah waited beside a nondescript car, his usual confidence replaced by nervous energy. I have something to show you, he said. Do you trust me? The question hung between them, weighted with more than its simple words. I'm still deciding, Maya answered honestly. Fair enough, he nodded. But come anyway. He drove them to a neighborhood Maya recognized, her old neighborhood before her father's death had forced them to move. Before cancer had taken her mother's income. Before life had become a constant struggle. He parked before a small community center that had been abandoned for years. Why are we here? Maya asked, confusion mingling with painful memories. Because sometimes going backward is the only way forward, Elijah said cryptically, leading her to the entrance. When he opened the door, Maya gasped. The dilapidated building had been transformed. Lights warmed the space where dozens of families gathered around tables filled with food. Children played in a corner filled with toys. A massive tree sparkled with ornaments, each bearing a name tag. "What is this?" Maya whispered. "The first annual Wright Foundation Christmas Eve," Elijah explained. "Named for your father. Every family here faces circumstances like yours: medical debt, educational challenges, housing insecurity. Tonight, they celebrate without worry. Tomorrow, they meet with financial counselors, job placement specialists, and healthcare advocates." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "You used your money anyway." "No," Elijah corrected gently. "I used my resources to create something sustainable. The foundation is funded through a permanent endowment, but it's designed to help people help themselves. Just like you would have done." Before Maya could respond, a small girl approached, tugging her hand. "Are you Ms. Wright? They said you're in charge of story time." Maya looked questioningly at Elijah. "I might have suggested you'd be perfect for it," he admitted. "Your mother mentioned you always read The Night Before Christmas to your father every Christmas Eve." The revelation that he'd spoken with her mother should have angered her, but instead, Maya felt something break and heal simultaneously. As she followed the child to a circle of waiting faces, she realized Elijah had given her something money couldn't buy, a way to honor her father's memory through service rather than grief. Later, as families began departing with gift cards, resource packets, and presents for their children, Maya found Elijah quietly washing dishes in the back. "A billionaire doing kitchen duty," she teased, picking up a towel to dry. "Just a guy helping out," he corrected. "Though I admit I've never done this before. Is this level of prune fingers normal?" Maya laughed, taking his hands in hers to examine them. The touch lingered, both suddenly aware of their proximity. "Thank you," she said simply. "Not for the money or even the foundation. For understanding what I needed wasn't charity but purpose." "I think," Elijah said carefully, "that's what I needed too. My parents died and left me everything except a reason to use it well." As their eyes met, the distance between their worlds seemed to vanish. Two people shaped by loss, finding unexpected connection. "I should get you home," Elijah said finally. "It's almost midnight." Outside, snow fell gently around them. At Maya's apartment door, an awkward moment stretched between them. "I leave for the industry conference tomorrow," Elijah said. "First public appearance in 2 years. The company expects their reclusive CEO to make a splash." "Going back to being a billionaire?" Maya asked, unexpected hurt in her voice. "Going back to being myself," he corrected. "But I'm not sure who that is anymore." Maya touched his face gently. "I think you're figuring it out." "Merry Christmas, Elijah." "Merry Christmas, Maya." Christmas morning, Maya woke to her phone chiming with notifications. Elijah Thorne was trending worldwide after his conference keynote had unexpectedly focused on corporate responsibility and a new initiative redirecting 30% of company profits to educational and medical support programs. The business world was stunned by both his public appearance and his announcement. As Maya scrolled through the coverage, a text arrived: "Check your email." In her inbox was an offer, not a gift, for a paid position designing and overseeing the Wright Foundation scholarship program while completing her own education. A job that respected her skills and her pride. Not charity, his message read. The foundation needs someone who understands both sides of the equation. Who better than you? 6 months later, as Maya proudly watched the first Wright scholars receive their acceptances, Elijah stood beside her, no longer hiding who he was, to the world or to himself. "We've changed 57 lives so far," Maya said, reviewing their progress. 58, Elijah corrected, taking her hand. "You changed mine too." Their journey had just begun, but already they'd proven that when different worlds collide, the impact can create miracles, not just at Christmas, but every day we choose connection over distance, purpose over circumstance, and love over fear. If this story touched your heart, remember that real change happens when we see beyond our differences to recognize our shared humanity. Sometimes the greatest gifts we can give cost nothing but mean everything, just like sharing this message with others who might need their own Christmas miracle. Like the video and subscribe for more billionaire stories with unexpected endings.